Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. I'm Manila Chan. That over there, Ted Rall. You're tuned in to the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI Show for short, because we also bring you way too much information. We do it live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So please be sure to stay tuned after deep program. And whether you can stay or not, we hope you can stay. But if you can't, at least hit that like button, the share, the subscribe, all of that, because it's the same family of friends running all of these shows, so it helps the show continue to grow. So Robbie says, okay, we can get straight to the stories. No ad blocking our way right now, and we gotta get moving to keep it to an hour. There's a lot of as usual, Ted, a lot of hot topics, hard to choose from. But I think the first one, because of everything happening in Iran, we've kind of forgotten about this one, don't you think?
What's going on in Iran? Is there news?
Not today, I think. Because they're just like, no, we didn't want a deal, and Trump's like, they desperately want a deal, and they're like, no.
I love his idea that like they're going to surrender whether they surrender or not. Basically, it'll all be in Trump's mind, and if he decides like, I think they've surrendered, I'm going to say that this is surrender.
It's like the gross guy that's convinced all the chicks want him.
Yes. I knew a bunch of guys like that. There's way too many of those guys, really.
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. They don't they're not doing any. They're self-deluded. I mean, they're not going to get any chicks that way. I mean, I don't.
Even when the women are like, hit the road, Jack. He turns around to his buddies and is like, she totally wants me.
She lusts for me. Yeah.
She's playing hard to get.
Yeah.
So anyway, we'll get to this first story immediately. All right. Ted, you might remember, first there was Ukraine, then came Gaza, and I think people have forgotten the West Bank.
They have.
They really have. And this story, when I came across it yesterday, was just really gross. Just really gross. So I don't know your take on this, your position on this in particular, Ted, but like, so this isn't the IDF, right? This story is about Israeli settlers. So they're not technically the government, even though the government kind of permits them to do whatever the hell they want, right? So I don't know. You can decide if this is kind of like a government sanctioned move. But this week, it turns out, or actually, no, just a little over a week ago, the news is now breaking that Israeli settlers sexually assaulted a Palestinian man, tying his genitalia up with zip ties and parading him naked in front of his family to, add insult to injury, extra humiliation, extra.
That question, why do they hate us? Exhibit A.
Zip ties, Ted, like zip tying his junk. And this was during a mid-March attack, so just over a week ago. And that is according to the victim himself and other eyewitnesses in his Bedouin community. Okay, so he's a Bedouin Palestinian. Attacks by masked Jewish settlers, including the burning of cars, homes, beatings, livestock theft.
It's a lynching, is what it is. These Israeli settlers are monsters. They're on territory that does not belong to them, never did belong to them, never will belong to them. They're land thieves. Call them colonialists is too kind. I mean, these are violent, horrible thugs who go in and beat the shit out of and rape and kill in order to drive people off their ancestral land. This is
apparently like a daily thing.
They're scum.
Daily thing in the West Bank.
I could really get behind U.S. troops invading the West Bank, to liberate the Palestinians, and if they have to, whatever, to drive off the settlers, we send them back to Israel. That's fine. And these people who did this should be executed.
Mind you, Ted, I'm giving the audience a PG-13 version of the accounts.
Yeah, I've
You
read
can find it.
I've read the others. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Disgusting. His name is Suhaib Abu Kabash. He's 29 years old. He was talking to Reuters and told them that this happened. He said that around 80, Ted, 80, not 8, not 18, 80 masked settlers armed with knives and sticks raided his Bedouin community in Humash on March 13th.
This shit happens all the time.
They ransacked the whole community. He said about 20 of them then beat him, stripped him, bound his genitalia, then dragged him naked in front of his small children. And he said, I thought they were going to kill me. And this isn't like some, random, civilian journalist. This is Reuters. Like, this is official. Well, there's some stuff that I've questioned, some questionable accounts from Reuters, but in this instance, they provided receipts, so I can believe what Reuters is saying here. The Israeli military and police said the incident is under investigation, Ted, because when the coyotes always, when they investigate themselves, they never raid the hen house. It's weird. No, Israeli police told Reuters that 7 suspects had been arrested on suspicion of involvement, and that police officers and military personnel were dispatched to Hamash. Quote, the forces, together with forensic investigators from the district, began conducting searches for suspects and collecting testimony, evidence, and other findings. As part of the investigation, which is currently under a court-issued gag order, 7 suspects were arrested several days ago on suspicion of involvement in that incident. It's not clear whether any suspects have actually been charged. The Yesha Council, which represents Jewish settlements, declined to provide a comment on this incident, Ted. Hamza sits between 2 hills in the Jordan Valley, an area that Israeli rights groups B'Tselem said faces daily settler attacks. The alleged attack on Abu Kabash, including horrific sexual violence, was part of a pattern of escalating violence, the group's executive director, Yuli Novak, told Reuters. The Israeli military did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Palestinians have obviously long accused the Israeli military themselves of protecting settlers over the local residents. The charge that the military obviously denies. Mr. Kabash said the settlers threatened to rape the women and the children. That's fun. The children too.
Yeah, they're nice. They're nice people.
That's lovely. So Reuters has, obviously they have like a portfolio of reports about settler violence that has spiked since Israel and the U.S. launched strikes on Iran. So this is how this is tied in, Ted, because the U.S., not that we paid much attention to what was happening in the West Bank anyway, but we're kind of eyes over there. There's the new shiny thing over there. But in the past 3 weeks or so since this began, I guess there's just a huge spike in this sort of humiliation.
Yeah, they're taking advantage, right? They know that the U.S. and Western media are distracted, are paying attention to other things.
Yeah.
Not that the West Bank ever gets proper coverage anyway, but even less so than usual. And also, there's sort of a sense within Israel of triumphalism. Like, look at us, man. We're invading, we're annexing Gaza. We're annexing southern Lebanon. We're bombing Beirut. We're bombing Syria.
We're such an empire.
We're greater Israeling it. We're bombing the shit out of the Iranians. So, now this is empire. We're annexing, now we're going to finish annexing. The annexation of West Bank is half finished already, but but we're going to finish the other half. This is our big chance. So, of course, I don't know that they formally these lynchers formally coordinate with the IDF, but they certainly know the IDF doesn't give a shit what they do. Yeah.
Yeah, they know they'll get away with it. I mean, sure, they're going to launch an investigation. Okay,
But
that's
no one ever goes to prison.
no one's ever
No one's
convicted.
ever
No one's
convicted.
ever,
Yeah. Nothing
if charges
happens.
are ever brought, then no one's ever convicted from there. And then, so
Mhm.
it's like some
It's
bogus
like being an ICE
investigation.
officer or a cop. Nothing
Yeah,
happens to you.
yeah. Nothing happens. So as if that wasn't bad enough of what happened to Mr. Abu Kabash, he said the settlers also stole 400 sheep from the whole community. That's the whole community's livelihood. That is the whole Bedouin community's, that's their food supply. And
Yeah.
Ted, where's the humanitarian aid? Are we bringing them anything? Are we helping them? What do you think?
Yeah. What do you think? Duh.
Like they stole their sheep. I just wanted to I don't have a lot of comment to say about this because it's not something that needs my commentary, like obviously, but it's just something I wanted to bring up because we shouldn't forget that this is not only still happening, but it's worsening since the Iran crisis began. It's worsening. So there's this horrible humanitarian soon to be crisis happening, as if that's, as if that alone isolated isn't disgusting enough. Then you add in I'm hearing accounts. I have a lot of Lebanese friends. One of my best friends is Lebanese. And I have a lot of friends that are in Lebanon. They say it's bad, the displacement of the people in southern Lebanon. We're talking
Well, there's a
they're
million
counting
Lebanese
hundreds
on
of,
the
they're saying a million.
a million people are on the move. Yeah.
So at least like if not hundreds of thousands, but I'm hearing a million from them. And there's really no place for them to go because if they go further south or east, then they're in the West Bank, and then this happens to them.
Well, they
And
wouldn't
then
be able to get in anyway, even
yeah,
if they
where
wanted
where
to.
do you go?
But, yeah.
Where do you go? And where do the people in the West Bank go? Where do you go? There's no place for these people to go for safety or food. So I just, it's just appalling, and there's nothing on the mainstream media to even bring up the plight of the Palestinian. Like when you say Palestinians, your mind automatically goes to Gaza. I get that. So in this instance, we're going to call them the West Bankians, the West Bankers, the West Bankians. There's no place for them to go. And nobody's saying anything about them because they're not getting bombed into oblivion like Gaza. So the visuals are not as interesting. However, when you read the accounts of what's happening to the civilians there, like this, bounding and gagging these young men, bounding them with fucking zip ties, their genitalia, like zip. I mean, I don't have a pair of those, Ted, but I hear that's the part that hurts. Is so if those get zip tied really tight, I feel like that would be a really, really painful experience.
Well, I mean, obviously the pain and the humiliation are, exquisite. I think, but even beyond that, you can die. There's a lot of blood flow to your penis. I mean, it's like, it's not a fucking joke. I mean, it's like, absolutely you can die.
Wait, like if they zip tied the balls,
yeah, yeah, you could die.
You could die?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you get a blood clot, you're gonna fucking die.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not like the pain obviously is, I can't even imagine. I mean, I can totally imagine. But like, it's, I mean, yeah, it's on a whole level. These people are monsters, the people who did this.
I just can't. And apparently it's happening almost daily. Maybe not to this level, this scale where it's like 100 people rushing into a Bedouin community, but even on a smaller scale, we're talking 5, 6 settlers going in to beat up one family.
Yeah, it's random. It's awful. And most of these people are from like New York. These are like not like, they're not, there's no,
they weren't even like born and raised in Israel.
And they have no ancestry whatsoever in the Holy Land at all. You go back 3,000 years. Nope. Not a single one. Nope.
Right. They're all like Ashkenazi from Europe.
Not
like,
that counts anyway. Like, who gives a shit? Like, you have, I mean, I'm sure if you go back, if you and I, Manila, go back 3,000 years in our DNA, we've lived all sorts of weird, interesting places that would not welcome us back now.
Sure. But I don't think a lot of these people, just based on their physical appearance, they are not native to the region. Much like Benjamin Netanyahu, not native to the region.
Not even a little bit. No.
So there you go.
The whole
there you
thing
go. There's your update.
It's a fucking farce. And I'm glad you brought this up. I mean, it's really a very uncomfortable topic, but these people deserve to have their pain discussed, acknowledged, and witnessed.
It's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking when you read the accounts, like individual accounts of what's happening to these. These are not like some Palestinian West Bank thugs in the city. These are the people on the outskirts that are fucking Bedouin in tents. These are like the nomadic Bedouin tribes, like tribe. Like when I say tribe, I mean tribe.
These are camel dudes.
They live in camps, and they move around with their animals. Like they're Bedouins, and this is what's happening to them. Like they're not dudes armed with like guns coming out of like a 2-story villa, right? Like this is like I've seen Bedouins when I lived in the Middle East. Like I believe they existed.
They generally don't participate in politics in Israel.
No,
they're just sort of
they just live.
They're off the grid, kind of like
They're like serious, like what Jesse Ventura dreams of being.
Wait, Jesse Ventura wants to be a nomad?
He wants to be like off the grid. Oh yeah, Jesse doesn't carry a cell phone because he says, I'm not giving the government a tracking device and paying for it.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I know. But it's just, that's, like I said, the Bedouins are what Jesse Ventura aspires to be like, where you're just off the grid, living off the land with your animals, and you move them around and you just live. So, and that's who is getting attacked right now, and nobody's paying attention because they're not in a city. They're in the outskirts of the desert, and that's what's happening. So there you go. All right.
So the Supreme Court is stepping into a fight that could change how we Americans vote and how the votes get counted. If you mail your ballot in on time, should it still count if it arrives late? Currently, 14 states plus Washington, D.C., ballots can be counted after Election Day as long as they're postmarked on time. Well, I mean, so they're still not really late. They just have to be postmarked on time. It's sort of like on tax day. If you mail in your taxes, they have to be postmarked by April 15th. Anyway, in the 2024 election, more than 750,000 such ballots fell into that category. Anyway, this is a Mississippi case. The law there allows ballots to arrive up to 5 business days after Election Day and still be counted. I don't even think that's good enough. Manila, if you mail in your ballot, and it arrives 5 months later, but it was postmarked on time, you didn't do anything wrong. The fact that the post office was slow is not your concern. So they should still count it. Republicans and the Trump administration argue that federal law sets a single election day. That means ballots must be received, not just mailed by the date. This makes no sense at all to me, at all. In fact, postmark makes a lot more sense because the voter can control the postmark. If you want to say that the postmark has to be 2 weeks before Election Day, but that's fine. But whenever the ballot shows up is when it should be counted, as far as I'm concerned. Saying that it should be up to something that's not up to your control.
Right, where it should be in the hands of ballot counters.
It makes no sense. Several conservative justices appear open to that argument, that their argument is so dumb, raising concerns about election integrity and public trust. On the other side, states and voting rights groups say that banning late ballots, they're not late. They're just after. They're not late. Could disenfranchise voters, especially military personnel, right? Because those, military personnel could be sending in a ballot from the other side
Yeah.
of the planet, right?
I voted from the other side of the world when I lived in the Middle East,
From
right? I
Diego
don't
Garcia.
know.
Yeah, they use APO, right? The Armed Forces Post
I don't know
Office.
when it got to the ballot counters. I don't know when it got to somebody's hands or the machine. I just know that I mailed it a month ahead of time to make sure it came from the Middle East to
APO is really cool
California.
because you can use first class mail to mail a military
Yeah,
person on the other side of the planet. But
this is like tantamount to like you're taking your test, right, in school, and you turn it into the teacher. That's not your fault if the teacher doesn't give you a grade in time.
right, or it's not, or perhaps even better, like it's sort of like you turn in your paper, you drop off your paper on time, and let's say the professor's assistant fails to give the paper on time to the professor. That's not your fault. You did what you were
Right.
supposed to do. You did what you were told to do. You followed the rules. So yeah, decisions is expected by summer. Manila, clearly the conservatives on the court, I don't know if all of them will do that, the whole 6-3, or if even 5-4, enough to get to a majority. But several of them literally said, well, it's about the day. And like literally they were like, there's birthday, there's New Year's Day, there's election day. And I'm like, okay, but the thing is, the postmarking rule, Manila, does make sense. And like, yes, if you give someone their birthday gift after their birthday, you've missed their birthday. But
Right, then it's a belated gift.
And I will say, actually, I do think there's something to be said for the idea of having a mail-in ballot deadline that predates
Yeah.
election day. And the reason is because the way it currently works, and I don't know if people are aware of this, if you mail in your ballot, it's not counted. They just throw them all in a box, and it's not counted until election day. They don't count them ahead of time, although they should. What they do is when they come in, the mail-in ballots are basically kept to the side by most boards of elections, and they're never counted unless so let's say, like, for example, Manila, there's 1,000 mail-in votes, and you and I are at the Board of Elections. We don't see it. If, let's say, there's a 3,000 margin vote win between the people who went to the polls, between the Democrat and the Republican, there's no way that those 1,000 votes could affect the outcome. Therefore, we don't bother to count them, and we declare, Bob or Jane, as the case may be, to be the winner. We only go to the mail-in ballots if the number of mail-in ballots is big enough that it could theoretically change the outcome of the election. So in a way, many of those ballots aren't really counted. So why not just go, and why not just say, like, okay, mail-in ballots have to be postmarked 1 month before election day or whatever.
Right.
But the point is that, like,
but invalidating them.
Now, the advantage of having them be the election day is it's a mnemonic device. Many people would forget, like, oh, fuck, the election's November 7th. I got to get my ballot in by October 7th. People would forget. So the idea is, oh, everybody's kind of voting at the same time. It's just that your mail-in ballot's going to be counted later, if it's going to be counted at all. I get it.
It needs to be.
But the point is, like, honestly, this is like the Republicans are engaged in a lot of voter suppression in this cycle. And this is one of the most stupid and meanest and most wrong-headed forms of voter suppression.
Robbie says, why not ban mail-in ballots unless you're in the hospital or the military? No, because there are people that work abroad or have to be abroad for other reasons. And that doesn't mean I'm any less.
People
I have
vacation.
no less rights than you as an American.
Yeah, you're saying nobody can be a tourist on election day, first week of November. You're not allowed to go to Florida. Like, of course, you should be able to do that. Not to mention, for a lot of people, it's a simple matter of convenience. I mean, Senator Murkowski of Alaska pointed out that most Alaskans have voted by mail for a long time, because usually it's a bush pilot who drops off your mail-in ballot and brings your ballot back to the polls. I mean, most people don't have any mail delivery by
There's no mailman? at the
No, not at all. I mean, you're in fucking
he
rural
might get
Alaska,
eaten by
man.
a fucking polar bear or grizzly bear or something.
Yeah, like a husky dog will come and bring you your mail. So, like, yeah, I mean, it's like there's a
Some
lot
dude
of
on a
parts of.
sled or like I thought they'd like be mushing there with the
What about people who are just
mailman.
sick, or just don't, or people who are shut-ins or agoraphobic? There's like no reason, there's no evidence that mail-in balloting is any more subject to fraud. And like, look,
Right.
people transact billions of dollars a day on their phones. We should use our phones to vote.
Right.
People transact billions of dollars a day in the United States, mailing in old-fashioned
We have
snail mail check.
biometrics on our phone.
You mail your check to the credit card company. You receive the bill from the credit card company on paper. Many people still do. It's like I know fraud is always a possibility, but there's never been, Republicans are trying to solve a non-existent problem. There's no evidence whatsoever that enough people have committed voter fraud to ever come close to changing the outcome, even of a dog catcher election. Therefore, it's like, why are you spending all this time, all this money, all this effort to solve non-existent problems when you have real problems,
look,
like 1 out of 4 children, living in poverty? How about that? That's a real
hunger.
How
about that? Yeah. Like, Ted, look, the numbers say 14 states plus Washington, D.C. It's only 15 places in America where ballots can be counted after election day.
It should be all.
And that's only 750,000 ballots between 15 places. So that's not moving whole elections.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that New York, which is a big state, doesn't allow the votes to be counted after the fact.
Yeah, I just feel like with so much technology, like facial recognition on our phones, even like biometric thumbprints on our phones, the government has our thumbprints. Like if we need to, update, if we want to be eligible for, let's say thumbprint voting on your iPhone, right? Well, you should register your thumbprint at the DMV and
or you don't even
at the voter registry.
You don't even need to do
whatever.
That, Manila.
You want to secure it.
2-factor authentication, in which your thumbprint or your face could be one of them on your phone. We all do this every single day. We all have phones. We all do. As a French citizen, I vote by, it's very complicated. They have 3-factor authentication. The French government sends you a special unique code for each election in order for you to vote. And then it's 2-factor beyond that. I have to say it works great. And, there's no evidence that the French are suffering from
Robbie's
fraud.
saying it ain't about fraud. He's saying it's about the issues.
Yeah.
So basically they want to make it harder for people to vote. To vote, period, because they're saying you need to not be so lazy on the issues.
Well, you gotta have skin in the game, right? So like, for example, when the country was first founded, the people who paid taxes were white landowning males.
Mm-hmm.
So consequently, the only people who were allowed to vote were people that had skin in the game, i.e. paying taxes, which were white landowning males. The biggest problem that we have right now with this here's the whole issue. We keep throwing around this word democracy. The United States is not a democracy. It never has been. That's the whole issue. And whenever you open up the floodgates and you just rush in millions of people to go vote who don't have a single concept of any issue on the ballot, like at all. But you
think the people go physically go? You think they know the issues?
More so than people just go to the mailbox, because at least then, I mean, you're at least having to haul your sorry carcass to your car or to your bus and actually go fill out a ballot and vote.
Not in my experience as a reporter and the people.
I would be very curious to do I would love there to be a study of people who vote in different methods, of like their knowledge of basic civil government.
I've done that story, Ted.
Like, do you know your state capital? What's the name of the vice president? I bet I'd be very curious.
Not that scientific, but I've kind of done that in a roundabout reporter kind of a way, where I've kind of surveyed, like, are you a voter? Are you man on the street type? Like, how do you vote? By mail. Okay. What's your education level? What are you a homeowner? Are you all of these things, right? So I don't know, something like, not that many people. We're talking maybe 100 man on the street people I've managed to ask. And more often than not, I find the mail-in voter people are the highest educated. More of them were homeowners. They're too fucking busy to go
Then
wait
you
in
make
line.
time. Then you make time. If
And
you're
so these are the people that actually did so. Not to your point, Robbie. It actually disproves what you're saying, because these are the people that actually knew the topics that were on the ballot.
okay, so you had a sample of 100 people. That's
But that's
really freaking tiny.
That's more than what you have.
Now, listen, I get it. No, I think what we need to do, honest to God, we need to have a poll. We need to have a poll test. If you come in, if you can't answer basic things, what are the 3 branches of government?
But voting is a right.
No.
You're tacitly adding a poll tax. If you're an American citizen, voting is your right. It's a right, like free speech.
Since 1965, yes, you're correct. And here's the question that I have for you, honest to God. And listen, I realize how this sounds. Can you objectively say that the United States is better now that we've transferred this whole thing into we're going to be a democracy by opening up the ballot box to every single swinging dick that can muster the way there, versus what it used to be? Is the United States a better, more holistic nation, a functioning state before 1965 or after? Has the standard of living gone up since 1965? Has the United States improved in any measurable state since 1965? The answer is no. And it's because if you're going to listen, a vote is more powerful than a rifle. People don't realize that. You are selecting your governance. If you don't have any concept of how your government even works, then you're manipulated by the government, and the media say, vote for this because these other people over here are bad, and there's no issue at all being debated. That's how republics die. That's the point that I'm making. Everyone should not have the right to vote.
I don't disagree that our economy has gotten worse. I don't disagree that society has broken down in too many ways for me to name in this one show. But based on the laws that we have, you have to find ways to make it equitable for people to have access.
Why?
And because that's the laws that are on the books. So unless you overturn the laws, and you have to make a solid, sound argument as to why without being discriminatory. If you can present that to me, then sure. I don't disagree with you your assessment of what's happened to our country, our society. I don't disagree at all. However, when it comes to voting and letting people live to exercise their rights, whatever those rights may be, whether it's religion or speech or whatever, I'm a proponent of that.
And that's fine. And then you can be Liberia and let me know how that works out for you. It doesn't. I mean, there's a reason why the founders, they specifically said, this is not a democracy. Democracy is nothing more than mob rule. That's all it is. Now, if you want to fix this, the easiest way to fix it would be by repealing the 17th Amendment. That's how you fix the Senate. That's how you solve the whole freaking issue. And by the way, that also fixes Trump's whole push right now to federalize elections, because he wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, he can't do it. Unfortunately, the U.S. Supreme Court is going to give him an unconstitutional win on this issue. But they shouldn't, because it's very clear that the feds have nothing to do with elections. But Bush v. Gore helped fuck that up too.
100%. And we have to break some brains right here. If you're on welfare or if you're on Social Security, you should not have the right to vote. And here's why. It's a conflict of interest. If the government is paying you, you have a vested interest in at that point to vote for whatever to vote for the politician that's going to allow you to have more money at the expense of the taxpayer.
Well, then no one who works for a defense contractor or for the military should be able to vote either.
Correct.
Or any member of Congress or any government employee.
If you receive a dime of federal funding, as long as you get that money, you should not be able to vote in federal elections.
Well, or if you're a college student who receives federal, student loans or anything, that'd be a lot of people wouldn't be voting.
It would be.
The thing is, Robbie, look, I'm going to break people's brains. I am very sympathetic to Robbie's assertion that there should be a certain base level of knowledge that you should have in order to be able to vote. It seems to me
would like that.
Should I be able to vote on the Heisman Trophy even though I don't know anything about football? No, right? Should someone who never watches films be able to vote for the Oscars? No. Should someone who doesn't listen to music a lot, should they be able to vote for the Grammys? No. So if you don't know what the capital of your state is, or you can't identify the vice president, or you don't know the three branches of government, as Robbie pointed out, should you be able to vote? No. Clearly no. It's ridiculous. It's like only in politics is everyone entitled to their own stupid fucking opinion, whether it's valid or baseless or not.
Do you know how Mark Levin and Sean Hannity and these other people are able to whip up so much rage from the boomers? The same way that the Democrats do. They don't argue issues, they argue emotion. And you say, the problem is that person over there, and we will protect you. And if you don't have a functional IQ that's above room temperature, I'm sorry, you should not be able to influence government policy that then enables my country to go and support a fucking genocidal country on the other side of the fucking world because you're too fucking stupid to pick up a book.
I agree. And if you can't, and like most Americans, I was just reading about this, cannot find Iran on a map.
No, they can't.
Even when it's a map of the Middle East only, they cannot find it.
And these people vote.
Hint, it's the big one.
No, people always talk about gun violence and how dangerous guns are. I mean this sincerely. Your vote that you cast every 2 or 4 years is so much more powerful than any rifle that you can ever buy. And people do not understand that.
But
that's why democracy does not work.
I have less of a problem with who can or should be able to cast a ballot. I have a bigger problem with what is on the ballot and how things fucking get there and what fucking idiots wind up their names on those fucking ballots. The processes we have in place, the institutional
You mean the two-party system?
Process.
What do you mean?
The whole electoral process, and that's just for the people. And then the process to get a bill brought. It's so fucking wrought with corruption and fucked up steps along the way that whether it's a name of a person or a bill for something, to get it on your local ballot.
Oh, you mean a ballot initiative, not a bill.
Anything to before it finally shows up on election day, whether it's like, AB 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever it is in California.
Yeah.
So everything, I don't care if it's a name of a person or a ballot initiative. I don't care if it's like a bill of some sort, like in California, how the shit gets moved up the food chain before it finally shows up so you can vote on it is fucked up. So I am less bothered by the people who are allowed to vote than the shit that's allowed to be on the ballot.
I think some things should be direct democracy. Since Congress has abrogated its right to declare war, leave that to we the people. Like, everyone should wake up every morning and there should be a few questions that we have to all answer on our phones. Like, hey, do you want to go to war against Iran? Yay or nay? Do you want to allocate $200 billion to blow up Iran? Yay or nay?
With the qualifier, before you can vote yay or nay, can you show me the Middle East on a map?
Fair.
I'm
Can you identify 3 cities in the country that we want to blow up?
Can you explain to me why you want to do this?
And then, can you tell me what language is the dominant? What is the official dominant language in the country we want to blow up?
Manila, you just made my case. You just talked. You literally just now said that Americans cannot find their state capitals, but then they can vote in elections. Fuck that.
Yes, Robbie. I just told you I don't care as much about what lay fucking moron can walk up to a ballot box or their fucking mailbox. I don't care about that. Really? I care more about the choice, the selection when they're looking at that little piece of paper. Why? I care more about how corrupt it is to get that fucking idiot's name with a D after it or an R after it. That shit is more corrupt than the lame ass moron that's ticking a box or filling in a circle. The person filling in the circle is the victim of circumstance of what we make available to them. So that's more fucked up.
That's true, but they're both equally important, obviously. I mean, yes, there's the choices on the ballot, which leave a lot to be desired, starting with the fact that you have 2 corporate billionaires supporting warmongering parties
So when
who
we're
have
talking about
exclusive content. But
when we're
also,
talking about 1 million votes
but
across
who
the
gets to
country
choose between those
getting
two
counted
warmongering
after,
parties? Come on, who votes does matter. Let's just say you had like,
of course it
let's just
does.
say you had a
It
European
works
style.
together.
No, let's say you had
But the whole
20. Let's say you had
system
20
is
great parties on the
fucked
ballot.
up.
But let's say you had 20 great parties on the ballot, like, for the sake of argument. And like, you know, and the ballot initiative
Did you say
process
great?
was, let's say great parties, 20 great
Okay.
parties, like fantastic parties that we all agreed were great. And like,
Hard to
you know, I'm
imagine.
living, you know, I'm smoking weed this morning. All right. So still, who chooses between them is super important too, right? Wouldn't you say? They're both
no.
equally important concerns.
They are too right, but it's if we're leaving the rights to the people to exercise the right to vote, it's more important about what we put on that ballot.
It's not more important. It's as important.
I
How is
don't
it
know,
more
I would
important?
give it a little bit more weight, because if it weren't a fucked up system about American oligarchs putting Donald Trump's name on the ballot, or Kamala Harris, or Joe Biden's name, if our system didn't exist the way it does, then people would have, like, if it was, I don't know, Joe Schmo's name that was put up on the ballot because our system wasn't as corrupt as it is, then you might actually get a chance to learn more about Joe Schmo or Jane Doe or whoever is up there. You'll get a chance to learn about what they stand for and have a better choice. So even if you're the layperson, you still get, you know, if there were better campaigning laws where you can't have, you know, a gajillion dollars worth of commercials drowning everybody. It, like, there's I forget if it's Mexico, I forget where in Latin America, but it's like a 1 week blackout period where you cannot campaign, you cannot do commercials. There's caps on how many commercials you can do. And we're over here in America in our elitist fucking, like, Western elite ideals saying those are banana republics, those Latin American countries. They have better election reform laws than we do. They have better guidelines and ways to not fully buy or drown people in bullshit ads, and they just have better guardrails around their elections than we do. And we go around saying, you have a banana republic, let me show you how to do democracy.
I'm not sure how
We can't do democracy.
I
there's
don't
much
know,
better
but
right
in
up
those
in here.
countries, they in Latin America, and I know because I've been, like,
And
literally,
they get outside election viewers.
but the big
Other
political
countries.
the big political parties, like, literally buy votes by, like, hey, we'll give you a free tea kettle if you vote for our guy, and we'll drive you to the polls. I mean, it's not a great system either, really.
That's not a lot of I forget what, like I said, I forget which country, but they actually, and even in Africa, there's laws that we can take from these other countries that we should apply here before we restrict voting. I think that's not the first huge matter, that if we're going to reform the way we vote in this country,
Then I have a
I
question.
think the thing that needs to be reformed first and foremost is how we get names and people onto ballots.
Okay, so then I have a question. If their systems of government are so much better than ours, and they are
I
responsible
didn't say that.
to the people,
Didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth. I said there are
I'm-
things we can. No. I said there are things we can learn from them that we
Like
can
what?
apply here.
like what?
I just told you. Like I just told you.
Like how to buy votes?
How about no
Yeah, or-
campaigning? How about no campaigning the week leading up to the election? How about no
What would
flooding
that-
of
and what does
commercials
that
leading up to the
accomplish?
election?
What does the no
Because then
campaigning
people
before
get
the
to-
election do?
Because then people actually get time to think about, that's the whole theory. If you guys go and read about some of these countries, about some of their election and campaign laws, you would see how beneficial it is, because then people actually get to clear their head and not
I don't
be
think people think
bombarded
that. I don't think
24/7.
people's brains work that way. I don't think that,
Well,
like,
that's-
oh my God,
I
I'm
think
so
if you read
distracted
about
by all
them-
the. I don't think I'm so distracted by, like,
You don't think so?
Americans for, voters for America. Like, I don't think I'm sitting around thinking about all the billboards and everything. Like,
You
oh
don't
my
think
God,
all these
I'm overwhelmed. I
commercials-
can't handle it. I can't handle
Ted,
it.
you don't think all these APAC commercials influence how a lot of Christians might actually vote? They have
Sure.
huge
And-
money.
And even if they
They're
go
not
off
only
the air-
controlling 435 members of Congress, they're controlling
Sure, but
a
even
lot
if
of
they
the
go
ads
off,
you see on TV. a
But if
lot
they
of the
go off the
radio
air,
ads you hear.
Manila, if they go off the air like a week or 2 or 3 or 4 before the election, the influence is still there, right? I mean,
No, that's the
why
thing.
not?
This is the shit I majored in college. So we're coming into my area of expertise. So it becomes public relations, and people have a very short attention span. And if you are cleansed, you're basically detoxed of having more than 42 million images blinking in your face every day. Your brain actually cleanses out within like 90 minutes. You already start to forget what you just saw within 90 minutes. That's why you were inundated with ads on your computer, on your phone, on the billboards, a moving billboard on a truck. That's why it's everywhere. Imaging is everywhere. But if there's a blackout on that, believe it or not, within 90 minutes, you start kind of forgetting.
All
like,
right. Well, speaking of 90 minutes, we have 10
Who's
minutes
that
left
guy?
before I have to go, and we have 2
That's what I'm
stories to do.
saying. And to Robbie's point, what I'm saying is there are things we can learn. We are not the fucking superior country in the whole
So why are they all
fucking
coming
world.
here, Manila? Why are they all coming here? Why can't
my
they
God,
fix their own
Robbie.
fucking countries that they come from
They're
if,
not all
if their
coming
system
here.
of government is so
They're
much
not all
better?
coming here.
Oh, they're not?
all coming here.
Oh, we
They're
haven't had
not.
millions and millions and millions of Hispanics flood
There's
this country over
8
the last 8 years?
billion plus people in the world. They're not all coming here.
Didn't say
A
they
lot of
were.
them are coming here, and I don't
Yeah, they
deny
are.
that, of course. But they're not.
But their countries
all
are so
coming
much
here.
better. They're so much
They're
better
not
where they
all
are.
coming here.
Why are they coming
They're
here and
not
taking the
all
gringo
coming here.
jobs?
You're. Why are so many Americans, especially youngest millennials and older Gen Zers, why are they leaving America in droves? Why are they going to elsewhere, like in Europe? They're going to the Middle East. Why are they going to fucking Asia? Why are they going to Asia?
For
Better
economic.
quality of life.
Yeah, 100%. And they're checked
Yeah.
out because our government is unresponsive to them, because this government wants as many cheap votes of as many stupid and retarded people as they can possibly get.
Okay, so
And
that's
to
my
your point,
point.
and to your point, you want to just let more of these retards keep on voting for the same corrupt fuckers who started to cause this all to begin with. My option is no. If you cannot explain in a simple, basic way how the government works, you have zero right to vote. As a matter of fact, I would take it further. In my perfect world,
I'm not even
I would
bothered by
repeal the
that.
19th Amendment and the 17th Amendment. I'm
that's
being
the thing, I'm
judicious
not-
here and just say let's just kill the 17th.
I'm not even bothered by who can go to the polls. That's not
But
what
you
I'm
should be.
bothered
That's
by.
the problem.
I'm more bothered by the options that we have. That's
way,
the problem with our country.
I
Okay,
gotta
hang
press
on. We got to go.
Robbie, I got to push back
Yeah.
against one thing you said.
Okay.
You know, these days,
Yeah.
mailing a letter is not as easy as it used to be. Mailing
email's
a
a good
letter
thing.
is like involved for like the kids, for like the millennials and for the Zoomers. They have a hard time mailing a fucking letter. They literally don't know how. I challenge you to tell them, like, here, write a letter to, you know, whoever. They don't know where the from goes to, where the to goes to. They don't know about the zip code, and they don't have any stamps. And they so like they literally.
But you want those people to be able to vote. Think about that.
All I'm no, what
If
you were
you're
saying
too
that, like,
retarded
it's not,
to
you were
rip-
saying
to
that
mail
it's very
a letter.
easy. Well, I agree with that. I would say that, like, but all I'm saying is the idea that mailing in is like, you know, lazier than dragging your ass over to the firehouse and casting your vote with the old ladies and the you know. I'm not so sure that's true. For me, it's true, but it's not so true for young people.
Listen, I think that for
Right,
local
so-
elections, no, do as you will. Go with God. Local elections are easier to control than national ones. But if you're going to vote in a national election, you need to at least be able to articulate in some kind of a meaningful way that you actually understand the system of government that you are now directly participating in. And if you can't, sorry, you have no voice.
I just don't think at this point, at this intersection, that SCOTUS should be deciding on this. Congress needs to fucking do something and change the law. If they don't like it, fucking change the law. But none of them work. So we are being ruled by 9 justices, and that becomes the effective law of the land. So we'll see what SCOTUS says, I think, in the coming days, because they're going to come down on this. I think they're expected to say something by next week. So
abolish the 17th Amendment, and a lot of these problems go away tomorrow.
All right, let's just do a crash course through these next stories. All right, so this one is a I don't know. I say it's a feel good story. So, those afternoons, Ted, that you feel like you're just not really doing anything, nothing important. Maybe you're puttering around the house, you're straightening out a drawer. You water some plants, you dust them or whatever. like, but somehow you wind up in a better mood. That's actually not having anything planned. This is what this story is. Not fucking planning. It's not laziness. It's they're a psychological term now. They're actually calling it puttering. And some of us I say putzing around or puttering around. So as it turns out, it's actually good for you. We've been conditioned to think health means intense workouts, go hard, sweat, grind, all that. But researchers are now finding something much simpler. All movement counts, even the light, unstructured kind, both mentally and physically. One major study found that replacing just 30 minutes of doing some light activity, the kind you get from puttering, was linked to a 17% lower risk of death over time. So it's not running marathons, it's not lifting heavy weights, it's just moving around your house. And the benefits actually stack up fast. Light movement helps lower blood sugar, reduce blood pressure, and it fights fatigue. It also clears that foggy feeling that you get in your brain after you've been sitting around for too long. Your body wasn't designed to be idle all day. It definitely wasn't designed to only move in a 45-minute gym window. So your brain benefits from this as well. Small self-directed tasks like wiping a counter or reorganizing a shelf triggers dopamine in the brain's reward center. And that creates a sense of progress, momentum, even if it's like the most minor thing, like just tidying up, basically. Over time, those small wins help stabilize mood and improve motivation. Then the actual neurological angle, experts say that varying your routine, even in small ways, can support cognitive function and neuroplasticity, basically helping your brain stay flexible and engaged as you age. So it's not just physically being active, it helps keep you a little mentally sharper, believe it or not, like literally polishing the silverware. it can actually help you, like go figure. Like, and then the part nobody talks enough about, it helps reduce stress. Puttering helps activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the one responsible for rest and recovery. That means lower cortisol, calmer state of mind, and a break from the constant pressure of you must optimize everything. Because somewhere along the way, even wellness became another performance, in at least in American culture. Always tracking, you're wearing your fucking Apple Watch, it tells you whatever, you had this many steps, you've taken this many breaths. We're always trying to optimize, we're always trying to improve, we're trying to do more. Puttering is the opposite of that. Low effort, low stakes. It's kind of grounding. So why do we feel guilty doing it? Because we've been trained to think that everything has to be productive. But slowing down actually is not laziness. It's recovery. So if you've ever felt guilty for not being productive, I was one of those people. Not being productive. I need to optimize every fucking minute I had. You have to rethink that, because it turns out the healthiest thing you can do for your body and your brain is absolutely nothing at all throughout the day. You should kind of just give yourself a little window to not have anything scheduled. I like that. I'm forced into that right now because I'm fucking 36 weeks pregnant.
I think there's a lot to be said also for just like doing little things around the house. Like, little things like, I had a couple of things that needed to be repaired yesterday that I worked on and fixed, just like stuff like that. It's like, and it's like, mental stuff. Like, where's that tool? What tool do I need? How do I use it? What kind of screw do I need? Where am I going to find one? That kind of stuff. It's like, it helps.
Like fixing this old lamp or whatever. They're basically saying that there is it's good for you. So don't overschedule. I think that's the takeaway here. And I've been guilty of that a lot, Ted. But being this pregnant, I'm being forced to remember that I can't push myself to do these things because I physically can't do them. But now it turns out it's actually good for you. How about that? All right, one last quick story.
Very quick, because I got a dip in like 2 minutes. Pfizer is seeking regulatory approval for a Lyme disease vaccine that shows 73% efficacy in a late-stage clinical trial. If approved, it would be the first human vaccine against the disease approved in over 2 decades. So Lyme is transmitted to humans through the bite of a deer tick that's infected. Symptoms range from a rash to fatigue and arthritis, and also like mental illness. Roughly 500,000 Americans are diagnosed with or treated for Lyme every year, and most fully recover after 10 to 14 days course of oral biotics. Typically, I'm trying to remember which one it is that you take.
Oh, I thought it stayed with you forever. No?
No, if you I live in the tick zone, and I used to live in Eastern Long Island, which was like Lyme disease central. And we had a whole protocol where you kept a wall calendar, an old-fashioned paper one up on the wall, and if you get bit by a tick, you try to keep the tick. You put it on a piece of paper, and on a piece of tape. You put it on the date, on that day's date. If you develop any symptoms or ring, then you bring it in for test to see if it had Lyme disease or not. Prophylactically, you're supposed to take antibiotics as soon as you get bitten, and you should be fine. But anyway, I have a funny Lyme disease story to tell you before.
But I guess if not, you can get this vaccine now, is what they're saying.
Right. So.
Like if you missed that window, I guess.
Chronic Lyme is not recognized by conventional medicine. The last human Lyme disease vaccine was introduced back in '98, but there were side effects, concerns. So that was pulled out. So we'll see what happens there. The shot was effective in at least 20% of the worst cases. That's the key metric. So, let me just see which antibiotic it is that you're supposed to take.
I thought Lyme disease was something, maybe I'm confusing it with another tick disease, but I thought it stuck with you like forever.
Oh yeah, it's doxy. You're supposed to take doxycycline.
That's what somebody said in the Rumble chat.
Yeah, that's what
Duke dog. Doxycycline is the antibiotic. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So you immediately, if you get bit by a tick, and let's say you're not sure, like you don't.
But how do you know you even got bit?
You'll know because you'll feel it usually, and it'll be attached to your skin, often engorged with your blood. And when you pull it off, your blood will splurt all over.
It stays on you, like
Have you ever never been bitten by a tick? Huh?
No.
Yeah, so it stays on you, and then you pull. You'll feel it. It's a creepy crawly feeling, and you'll pull it off with like tweezers or with your fingernails, and you'll feel it like sort of like not want to let go, and then. And it's it's like digging in and sucking up. It's sucking your blood like a vampire. So let me tell you a thing. This is a Manila story. So I told you I lived in Eastern Long Island. That's where the Hamptons are, right? And this was when my marriage was falling apart. Well, it turned out, so my ex-wife and I were we did what everybody does when their marriage is falling apart. When you're a guilty liberal, you go to marriage counseling, so that therefore it doesn't work, but it never works. But studies have shown
you can say you tried.
But then you tell all your friends, well, we did go to marriage counseling, and everybody's okay, you have the right to, we'll let you get divorced then.
It's a sanctioned divorce.
It's a sanctioned divorce. So anyway, we went to marriage counseling. It didn't work, but like while we were doing it, we came to learn that in Eastern Long Island, a study showed that over 90% of people who were in marriage counseling or relationship counseling, one or both partners had undiagnosed long-term Lyme disease.
Get the fuck.
So
what?
Long-term Lyme disease makes you an asshole. It makes you like irritable, like mean, like violent, abusive, verbally abusive.
You think Joe Biden had that?
Abusive. No, I think he was a mean bastard all along.
Well, yeah, everyone says he's
not
mean.
to pretend he's from Delaware. I don't think he spent much time in the Hamps, but it was like, anyway, the point is like, and that was certainly like
90.
Oh, no. That might explain my situation. So like, because it turned out my ex-wife had undiagnosed long-term Lyme disease.
Get out. It's so true. Can you be cured of long-term Lyme?
Yes, you go on Doxy. You might have to do 2 courses or Cipro or whatever. But
what's considered long-term? Like a month, 2 months, 3 months?
Like a month.
I can't shake this feeling like I thought there was another tick disease. Remember we did the Lone Star tick story that makes you allergic to meat?
That gives you Rocky Mountain spotted fever. That's
the
different.
one that makes you allergic
Lyme
to
disease
beef.
is named after a town in Connecticut where it was first discovered and identified. But it's not, and even though Lyme, Connecticut is still a place where you can get Lyme disease, it's not ground zero anymore. And now Eastern Long Island and the New York, north of the New York metropolitan area and west of the New York, its range is spreading due to climate change too.
Yeah.
So
I thought that's why you might find this interesting, because I know you told me there's a lot of Lyme disease.
Lyme disease is
cases
no, if you live where I live,
Northeast.
Lyme disease is a constant concern. If you ever go for a hike, even in Central Park or even certainly in any woods outside of
It's
New York
not a
City.
major thing in California. That's why.
No.
So
No, you guys have
I'm
other
not-
things. You have brown recluse spiders
Yes.
and all sorts of other things. But yeah, scorpions.
Yeah. It's fine. Just shuffle your feet when you're hiking in California. That's all I can tell you.
And make
Shuffle your
noise.
feet.
Yeah, you got
make a lot of
rattlers
noise.
too. Like my
Yeah,
like
but,
my
but don't
my
vibrate the
in-laws-
ground.
My in-laws had like a baby rattlesnake nest infestation in their garage. And like they went to move a box and all the snakes fell out. Like they're in like Indiana Jones.
I don't know how you evade ticks, but in California,
My father-in-law was very excited. He
just
he
shuffle your
killed them
feet.
and ate them all.
And ate them?
Taiwanese people, man, they eat weird shit.
All right. We'll leave that there.
Fried, he's like,
at least
fry
in
'em up on the
California,
Barbie,
you eat
man.
good vermin. Eat the vermin. I don't foresee us having tick stew or soup, Ted. So
No,
probably not.
No, you need a lot of ticks. I mean, they're very
Gross.
small.
I don't know how
When
a grain of rice small.
oh my God, when my kid was like really little, he needs help bathing because he was like, a little dude, like, 6 months old, and he was in the yard. Anyway, it turned out all his junk was covered, festooned by ticks.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh my God.
Yeah.
What is with, we start the day with zip tying junk and we end the show with junk festooned, as Ted
Now,
says,
however, I'll
decorated by
also
ticks.
give you other news. Like in the Hamptons, people have the biological solution to the ticks. They get guinea hens, and guinea hens eat ticks like nobody's fucking business.
I have no idea what that is.
Guinea hens are like, they're like this. They're like a fowl. They're very cute, and they're speckled, and they have and they run around and they just like we be eating ticks like a mean bastard. They're like tick eating machines.
Okay, I have to look those up. Oh, they're ugly though.
Nah, guinea hens are cool.
These are not. They're like deformed turkeys.
No, stop.
No,
That's
I
not
don't
even
know.
true.
I'm looking them up right now. But okay, they're not okay. Maybe that one I saw was ugly. This one's one's kind of interesting looking.
No,
Okay.
they're not. Their bodies are really beautiful. What are you talking about?
Okay, no, I take that back. I found some. Okay, look up guinea hens, folks. Okay, these are kind of interesting looking.
Yeah, so
okay.
I mean, it's like, look, what would you rather have, ticks or guinea hens? Guinea hens, obviously.
Okay, these are kind of cool, I guess. Okay, yeah, I don't know anything about ticks or these hens.
Yeah, ticks.
So
You don't
don't
want to know
listen to
about
me,
ticks.
I don't know.
You'll find out about ticks, I'm sure. But yeah.
Oh God, I hope not. Okay, ugh. All right, that's it. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday. Adios, amigos. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.